Hello, and welcome to our celebration of remembrance and hope to wrap up the 2020 Out of the Darkness Experience season. My name is Sandra Goldmere, and I'm the Area Director for the Capital Region New York chapter of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. This, of course, is a time of uncertainty. Right now, it is more important than ever to be physically connected, even though we might be socially distant. And it's really important to take time to take care of ourselves and our own and others' physical and mental well-being. I do truly hope that you are taking care of yourselves, checking in with your family and friends, and finding ways to stay active during this time. If you or someone you know is struggling, please remember these numbers and add them to your phone. The Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 1-800-273-8255, or you can text 741-741 to the crisis text line. You can text the word TALK and they can help you. Again, the numbers are 1-800-273-TALK, or you can text the word TALK to 741-741. To start our formal program, here are a few brief messages from AFSP's national leadership. First, our CEO, Bob Gebbia, followed by Senior Vice President for Development and Field Management, Mike Lama.
I'm Bob Gebbia, CEO of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and it's an honor for me to welcome you to the Out of the Darkness Experience. A heartfelt thanks goes to all of you, our amazing friends and supporters, for participating in this event and for raising awareness and funds for suicide prevention. Now, clearly, much has changed since last year's Out of the Darkness Community Walk. It's a challenging time. And on behalf of all of us at AFSP, our thoughts are with you and your families during this pandemic. We hope you are staying safe and healthy. And I can assure you the pandemic has not deterred AFSP from its work. We've adapted our life-saving programs, delivering them virtually, wherever and whenever possible, including Talk Saves Lives, our most used public education program. From the start of the pandemic, AFSP has been a leading voice about caring for one's mental health, using traditional and social media to convey messages about self-care, that physical distancing doesn't mean social isolation, and about staying in treatment or seeking treatment through telemental health. Now, we continue to make progress across all areas of our work. Our investment in research has continued with 38 new studies funded since the start of the pandemic. We reached 1 million people during May Mental Health Month with our #RealConvo campaign. And in June, we launched new Seize the Awkward public service ads to empower teens and young adults to help a friend who is struggling. We held 38 state advocacy days since last fall, and the first ever virtual federal advocacy, where we had 1,400 participants from 50 states contact their members of Congress to support improved crisis services for people in emotional distress. And as an organization, we are speaking out about the inequities in access to mental health care, in particular for communities of color, and we continue to advocate for ending all health care disparities. Our interactive screening program continues to be used in schools and workplaces, giving people a safe and anonymous way to reach out for support. Since the start of the program, we've connected over 180,000 people to help they would not have otherwise sought. And when suicide does occur, AFSP is there to support the families and friends with programs and resources. This year alone, we will host more than 400 International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day events to offer comfort and support. None of this work would be possible without all of you and hundreds of thousands of others. We need you to be involved because our work is more critical than ever. Based on the latest CDC data, the suicide rate in the U.S. continues to trend up, and we are concerned that the isolation and grief and economic impact of the pandemic could contribute to further loss of life from suicide. But we believe an increase in suicide isn't inevitable, and with greater investment in mental health care and suicide prevention now, we can avert any increase and save many lives. Your participation in this event is lifting up those who struggle with thoughts of suicide, and you are remembering loved ones who we've lost, sons and daughters, siblings and parents, spouses, partners, and friends. The involvement of each of you is so critical to our mission of saving lives and bringing hope to those affected by suicide. Everything AFSP is doing is a direct result of your willingness to get involved. I hope you will stay involved. Because of you, we are able to fight for a day when no one will die by suicide. I look forward to seeing you all in person at an event sometime in the future. But until then, thank you and stay safe.
Hi, I'm Mike Lama, Senior Vice President for Development and Field Management for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I'd like to thank you for participating in the Out of the Darkness experience. While we can't be together in person, we can still come together as a community to raise awareness about suicide, support each other, and allow the work of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention to continue. I'd like to thank our hardworking volunteers and staff for making the experience possible, and thank our chapters for all the work they do every day to prevent suicide. And while the pandemic has impacted us just like it has the rest of the world, we have continued our life-saving work, which is needed now more than ever. We've invested $20 million in current research studies, making us the largest private funder of research in the United States. Through our army of 25,000 volunteer field advocates, we've helped pass over 50 state laws and 13 major federal policies, including leading the efforts to establish 988 as a 3-digit number for people in crisis. During the pandemic, our chapters have shifted to delivering programs virtually, making programs available to thousands of people in all 50 states, including our new program, Enhancing Mental Health During COVID-19. We've continued delivering our critical loss and healing programs to those who've lost someone to suicide. And we've continued working toward our bold goal of reducing the suicide rate by 20% by the year 2025 through our innovative Project 2025. But none of this would have been possible without you. Through the support of thousands like you nationwide, we were able to continue our life-saving work. With the onset of the pandemic, our work is needed now more than ever. We know that there is a possibility of an increased risk for suicide, but we also know an increase is not a foregone conclusion. If we act now and continue delivering our programs, we can mitigate that risk. Thank you once again for your participation and support. Together we can and we will keep going to prevent suicide and save lives.
By joining us today, you are sending the message that our cause of suicide prevention can never be canceled, because it can't be. We cannot go another day without showing that mental health is as real as physical health. You are showing others that suicide, which is currently the 10th leading cause of death in the United States, can no longer be ignored. Suicide is a health issue that affects us all. By joining us on our program today, you are showing that we do not need to be together live in person to raise our voices to prevent suicide.
I'm Dan Egan, Board Chair for the Capital Region New York chapter of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I've been volunteering with AFSP for a little over a decade in various roles, but my journey with this cause started over 30 years ago when I lost my father to suicide. At the time, I was unequipped and unable to deal with my loss, and like many people, I stuffed my feelings deep inside. It wasn't until many years later, when I faced my own mental health crisis, that I was able to come to terms with my loss and reach a level of understanding. Today we find ourselves in the middle of an unprecedented public health crisis. Yet we also have an opportunity to come together within our families and our communities to reach a better understanding of mental health. Many people are dealing with feelings of anxiety and isolation during this time, and we wanted to give you at least one tool to help deal with some of those. Our next presenter, Kim Cardona, is a trauma healing therapy instructor at Good Karma Studio.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Cardona, and I'm coming to you from Good Karma Yoga Studio, located 12 Walker Way in Albany, New York. I like to take a time out when I'm feeling anxious or not grounded. I like to find a quiet room, quiet space. It could be in your car, it could be somewhere in your office. And take that time for yourself, because it's super important. I like to just sit down, maybe take my shoes off and relax, close those eyes. And I visualize my heart beating big and red. And every time I take that deep breath in, I draw that breath all the way up the spine, and I take it out to the front of the heart, and then I let that breath go all the way down, back down to the belly button. And then I bring that I bring that breath all the way up, and I release it to the back of the heart, and then I bring it all the way down. And this time I'll bring it all the way up. As you inhale, you bring it all the way up and take it to the top of the heart. And then exhale it to the front of the heart and all the way back down to the belly button. Take that inhale again, right up to the heart, all the way to the heart, and then exhale that breath to the back of the heart and bring it all the way back down the spine to the belly button. Now just breathe normally right here. Just inhale through the nose, exhale, inhale, and exhale. All right, here we go again. Let's visualize bringing that breath all the way up the spine to the heart. This time we're going to take it to the front of the heart and then exhale that breath all the way back down to the spine. Inhale, that breath comes all the way back up through the heart and goes out the back of the heart. And then exhale that breath all the way down. Inhale, that breath comes all the way through the heart, all the way to the top of the heart, and then exhale it to the front of the heart and all the way back down again. Inhale that breath all the way from the belly button all the way up to the top of the heart, and then exhale that breath out the back of the heart and all the way back down again. And now just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. In through the nose and out through the nose. One more time, in through the nose and out through the nose. Last time right here. So take that deep breath in, drawing that breath right from the belly button all the way up the spine to the front of the heart, and then place that breath all the way to the back of the heart and release that breath all the way back down to the belly button. Inhale, that breath comes all the way up the spine, enters through the back of the heart, comes to the front of the heart, and then relaxes all the way down the spine. Inhale, that breath comes all the way up through the heart and filters out the front of the heart. As you exhale, it releases all the way back down to the belly button. Inhale that breath, bring it all the way through the heart and then release it to the back of the heart, and then exhale it all the way back down. Inhale, that breath comes all the way up to the heart and it comes to the front of the heart and releases all the way back down. Good. Now breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. In through the nose and out through the nose. One more time. In through the nose and out through the nose. Good. See, that wasn't so bad. It took a little under 5 minutes and you feel rejuvenated and refreshed, less anxiety, less depression, and you feel more grounded. I thank you so much for joining me today.
Our next speaker, Will Foley, truly embodies this mission and uses his lived experience in music to help and uplift people who are struggling. Will now share with us a portion of his journey and an original song.
Don't die with your music still inside you. Those words hit me harder than Tyson Fury in a heavyweight championship fight. In 2012, I found myself in an unbearable despair that I had been carrying since I was 9 years old. I found myself contemplating and planning an end to my life when those words filled my ears. They doubled me over and I sobbed, and that sobbing was a cleansing, and that cleansing was an opening to the darkness, an opening that I hadn't seen in a very long time. But why music? Music is a native language, a language that has always spoken to me ever since I can remember. But I couldn't hear it at that time. Wayne Dyer's words found me at the most perfect time, if words could ever find anyone. Right now, I would like to share with you my first love, music, and play a song for you that I wrote called You're Loved, a song of resilience and hope that I hope can find you in your time of darkness.
Sometimes you lose yourself and you can't see the light. And the stress of the day takes all ambition, and you can't get it right. Get it right. But I'll be your savior, I'll be your strength, I'll be your stone. I'll be your friend, I'll be your teacher. You'll never stand alone, 'cause you are loved. Through your darkest hour, your glory ride. You are loved. Swear to you I'll never leave your side. You are loved. Sometimes the world steals your soul and you're forced to crawl. But please don't be afraid, I'll catch you when you fall. When you fall. And I'll be your savior, I'll be your strength, I'll be your stone. I'll be your friend, I'll be your teacher. You'll never walk alone, 'cause you are loved. No matter what our lives tend to bring, you are loved. That's why for you this song I sing. You are loved. When despair and grief hold you in their grip, just reach my hand and I won't let you sleep, 'cause you are loved. Through your darkest hour, oh, your glory ride. You are loved. I swear to you I'll never leave your side. You are loved.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Tonko, representative of New York's 20th Congressional District. I am honored to join you virtually for this year's Capital Region New York Out of the Darkness experience. Yours is the noblest of causes, and I am indeed proud to consider myself your ally. Suicide devastates our families and our communities. In 2018, we lost more than 48,000 of our neighbors to suicide. That number is 48,000 too many. We know that we can do better, that we can do more to prevent suicide and save lives. Part of that effort is to do a better job to reach out to those at risk. We know that for every completed suicide, there are countless more suicide attempts. We also need to do a better job of building a healthcare system that more effectively treats mental health and substance use disorders, which we know are major risk factors for suicide. On that front, I've been championing the push for mental health and addiction parity for the last decade in Congress, so that people can access mental health and substance use care the moment they need it. As we face the added challenge of this COVID-19 pandemic, it is more important than ever that we remain connected and help one another in the ways we need. Whether it's advocating for universal health care coverage or speaking out to make certain that suicide is treated like the public health crisis that it is, I am here to fight alongside you. Thank you for your partnership over the years and for your advocacy in the fights to come.
At our in-person events, we typically do a remembrance ceremony, and we wanted to make sure that even though we aren't together live, that we carried on that tradition. The sand ceremony reminds us of the reasons that we are here today and to share a symbol of hope and healing. As we pour the sand, we remember those we've lost to suicide. Each color of sand acknowledges the connection that each one of us here today has to the cause.
My name is George Sakaris, and I represent Silver for the loss of someone by suicide that has worked in the military or as a first responder. My brother Jerry Sakaris was a firefighter for 21 years for the city of Albany. He worked as a paramedic and a firefighter. He lost a long battle with depression, and on May 10th, 2010, he took his own life. I'm sharing my story today in the hopes that those that have feelings that are not quite understanding, to know that they can call someone, that there's someone out there that they can speak with that will listen to their stories. You know, it's very difficult being a firefighter or working in the military with all that we see. But you can get through this. If you can just get through this tough time by speaking with someone, then you can get through all this and live life the way you should.
My name is Karen, and I represent the color red for the loss of a partner or spouse. I lost my husband in 2006 to suicide. He was the kind of guy that would give you the shirt off his back and do anything for anybody. When he walked into a room, people would say, "Mo is here." That was his nickname. And it would quickly be followed with, "Where's Larry and Curly?" He was a gem. He was an amazing human being, and how he died didn't define his life. And while he left behind our two beautiful children and so many people who loved him, so many of us have found hope and healing on this journey because of our connection with AFSP and each other. My hope and prayer is that's what you find. Through the Out of the Darkness experiences or Survivor Day or whatever that looks like, community and connection are so important on this journey. Together we can fight suicide, and together we can keep going.
We represent the color orange. Our names are Marie Rabideau and Barbara Boudreau, and we honor the loss of our younger brother, Alec Boudreau, to suicide on August 2nd, 2006.
Alec was 33 years old at the time of his death. He was intelligent, handsome, charming, and well-loved. He suffered from bouts of depression from childhood until the time of his death, and had survived at least one prior attempt. He did not want help because he believed that men take care of themselves.
We volunteer with AFSP in his honor and memory, working to change attitudes and promote research that will help keep others' families from experiencing a similar painful loss. We seek to share with others the hope and support we received when we needed it most. We want to normalize mental health issues so that someday no one will feel stigmatized for seeking help.
To all of you, we extend our sympathy and best wishes for emotional healing. Together, we can make a difference.
My name is Megan, and I represent the color gold for the loss of a parent. My father, Mike, was a strong man who owned a successful landscaping company. He was so full of life and often referred to as the life of the party. But while his smile would light up the room, he was hurting inside. My father took his own life on December 21st, 1995. I share his story in hopes to bring awareness to mental health. It does not care how strong or successful you are, it will affect you just the same. I also volunteer for the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention to give and receive comfort from other survivors. I hope to one day get enough resources out to those who are suffering to not have to welcome in a new survivor.
I'm Albany County Executive Dan McCoy. I represent the color blue in the strong support of suicide prevention. I've been in the National Guard for over 30 years. Part of that time I spent in Iraq. I know veterans die by suicide at a higher rate than the rest of the community. We also know others who need help. Our teenagers, those suffering from mental health issues, may not feel comfortable talking to someone. Albany County Department of Mental Health and Children's Mental Health are just a click away on the website at albanycounty.com. One suicide is too many. That's why I'm asking you to support others and encourage people to reach out for help.
Hello, my name is Andrew Leese. I pour green sand as I have struggled with suicidal thoughts since middle school. I got involved with AFSP as I realized I didn't ever want anyone else to feel the way that I had felt. I thought helping others would help me with my struggle, but quickly realized that no one is immune. In 2017, my thoughts got the best of me, and I ended up going to 4 Winds. If it was not for what I had learned through AFSP, I would not have sought treatment as quickly as I had, if at all. I walk not only for myself, but for everyone who struggles with suicidal thoughts. And now I share my story with others in the hopes that it will help them see that they are not alone, and that help is available.
My name is Trinity Kenny, and I pour purple sand to honor the loss of my best friend, Gabriela Cusado. She saw me through everything, from embarrassing crushes to broken bones and much more. Gabby was a talented athlete with incredible artistic abilities and a love for great music. Gabby had the most infectious laugh I've ever heard. Unfortunately, Gabby was struggling with mental health problems that I am still trying to grasp to this day. And on November 23rd, 2019, Gabby took her own life. Gabby and I would have sleepovers almost weekly, and I look back and smile when I think about all the times we stayed up watching TV and talking until the sun came up. It is my hope that by raising funds and spreading awareness for the AFSP, it will help others find the courage to ask for help, so that no other family has to go through the pain that my family and Gabby's family have and continue to go through.
I'm Judy Payton. I'm represented by Teal Sand for my daughter, who struggled with suicidal thoughts. I volunteer to support all parents and siblings that care for loved ones dealing with mental illness. A friend or family member's strength and caring provides courage in their time of need. My hope is that speaking out about my experience will help others realize they're not alone and encourage more people to break the silence surrounding suicide and mental illness.
I am Dr. Cara DeSantis, and I am represented by the White Sand for the loss of a child. On March 9th, 2017, I lost my son Anthony just 3 days before his 16th birthday. He had plans for his birthday. He was getting the keys to his very own truck. I remember hearing at his funeral, if he only knew how many people loved him, over and over. For a long time, I've wondered why. Why would my child end his life? I still struggle with guilt. I get trapped in the what ifs. What if I'd left work earlier? What if I'd simply been better? Every day, I consciously remind myself to stop the what ifs. Every day, I remind myself that my son loved me. Every day it gets a little easier, and now I know that I can smile again, and I know my son would want me to.
Today we started with an empty vase, that same empty feeling that many of us have felt after a suicide touched our lives. And while each individual grain of sand was poured into the vase to represent the individual aspects of our loved ones, their wishes, their personal dreams, and their solitary hearts, the vibrant colors remind us of our own wishes, our dreams, our hearts. This vase, empty no longer, now holds the story of each of our loved ones. Now sits before us as a beautiful blend of colors. No longer are we individuals standing alone. Our stories are now irreversibly combined, like the grains of sand. And together, our individual stories are now part of a bigger story, a story that demands attention to this cause, a story that will raise awareness. Let this sand ceremony remind us that the sands are now combined irreversibly. While we are different people from different pasts and different losses and different struggles, the different grains of sand are so intertwined that they are essentially one. We are essentially one. You no longer walk this journey alone. Thank you so much for being part of this day and sharing your journey with us.
One of the programs we offer for those who have lost a loved one to suicide is called Healing Conversations. Our Healing Conversations program has helped loss survivors all over the country. Healing Conversation gives survivors of suicide loss the opportunity to speak with volunteers who themselves are loss survivors. Learn more at afsp.org/healingconversations. Here's a quick overview of this program.
If you've lost someone to suicide, you may feel overwhelmed by grief, confusion, or even anger, but you are not alone. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention offers support in the weeks and months following a suicide. The Healing Conversations program gives those who have lost someone to suicide the opportunity to talk with a caring volunteer. Having experienced suicide loss themselves, our volunteers know firsthand the emotions associated with this type of loss. They can offer comfort and guidance, as well as community resources that may be useful on the path ahead. Healing Conversations are available in person, on the phone, or by video chat. To learn more about the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and how to schedule your own healing conversation, please visit afsp.org/healing conversations.
Our next presenter is Bobby Chase, owner of Next Evolution Media, who graciously helped us film this event. He is also the survivor of a suicide loss. In 2018, he produced and directed a short film in honor of his brother Jacob. Bobby will now share with us his story.
You know, a lot of people ask me about that day and how I got through it and how I continue to go through it.
Silvery sky when I arrive, you blush golden yellow.
My name is Bobby Chase, and I am a suicide survivor.
How do you let go?
One way to deal with it is, by talking about it and finding the humorous moments in life and using my creativity. In fact, in 2018, 10 years after my brother took his life, I wrote and directed a short film about the entire day and the events that happened. This accomplished a few things. One was to put ink to paper and relive every moment of that day. And two was to give hope for all others who've gone through this, that it is possible to deal with and get back to enjoying life. Once the film was completed and it was screened, I had a dream one night, that my brother gave me this giant hug, which felt like it lasted for hours, and it felt real. And I think, at that moment, I knew, it was okay to move on and continue living life. So for my story, it was about using my creativity and being a filmmaker that helped me cope with being a suicide survivor. How do you cope?
Now I'd like to say thank you to the most important people in AFSP, all of you. Without the support of our community, none of our work would be possible. Even during these uncertain times, you've been there for us. You showed up at our events, and you've raised crucial funds to support our work. To date, our 2020 Out of the Darkness experiences have raised over $150,000, and our fundraising is open through December 31st. These funds are crucial because they help fund advocacy, research, community programs, and outreach to communities, neighborhoods, and people everywhere. Now we'd like to take a moment to show some photos of our top teams and individual fundraisers from throughout our season. Through the funds we raise, we create a culture that's smart about mental health. We let others know that they are not alone in their struggle or their loss, and we all can make a difference together.
We'd also like to thank our sponsors. One of the best ways we can show our appreciation during these difficult times is to support their businesses whenever possible. I'd also like to give an extra special thank you to Allstate and the Tim Berryhill Agency for their incredible support again this year. So if you're in the market for insurance, give Tim and his team a call and let them know you appreciate their support of AFSP.
Before we close, I'd like to remind all of those of you who are loss survivors that our International Survivor of Suicide Loss Day is November 21st. Here are a few more details about what will be a virtual event this year.
If you've lost someone to suicide, you are not alone. Through your local chapter of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, you'll find a community of people who share a common experience and can help you find a path forward. Each November, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention supports hundreds of International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day events around the world. At these events, survivors of suicide loss come together to find connection, understanding, and hope. For many, this event is the first step in gaining comfort in their loss. No matter where you are in your journey, we encourage you to attend this free event to connect and find support with others in your community. To learn more about the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day, or to register for your local event, please visit afsp.org/Survivor Day.
Those of you who have attended our Out of the Darkness experiences have probably seen our memory quilts, and many have asked how they could have a square created to honor their loved one. We're going to be working on creating some new quilts for 2021. Stay tuned to your email as well as our Facebook and website for more information on how to order a kit to make your own square. It will provide materials and directions on how to complete your square. Then we will have a local artist put them all together to create our quilts for next year. I hope you will continue to stay connected with us and volunteer with the Capital Region New York chapter of AFSP. For more information, you can find us on Instagram or Facebook, or you may visit our chapter's website at afsp.org/capitalregion.ny. Thank you for joining us today and for supporting the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and for this year's Out of the Darkness experiences. Our mission to save lives and bring hope to those affected by suicide would not be possible without you. Thank you so much.